Welcome to the God's Got This podcast. I'm your host, Dawson Muck. I played college baseball at Randall University in Moore, Oklahoma, and on April 22nd, 2022, I was involved in a collision in the outfield, and now I am a quadriplegic. I've created this podcast to share some insight on the journey that God has me on now. I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of the God's Got This podcast. Today's guests are two pretty important and special people in my journey, and especially in my recovery journey. Um, I've got Lauren and Amanda. I'll let them introduce themselves, but they're two of my PTs, and so without further ado, Lauren and Amanda.
Hey, yeah, I'm Amanda. I'm a physical therapist at PT Central in Davis, and yeah, I've been working with Dawson since he came back home. So known each other for a long time now.
And I'm Lauren. I'm also a physical therapist. I was at PT Central in Davis and just moved 6 months ago, but I was there for 2 great years hanging out with Dawson.
Yeah, Lauren left us to go to Kansas City. She just got tired of working with us, I guess, and so just decided to pack up and leave us.
No, you guys are two big pieces of my heart that are still in Oklahoma. That's not fair.
I know, I'm just kidding. So to start it off, I just want to hear what kind of like what made you want to go to PT.
You want to take this one first, Lauren?
Sure. I feel like I wanted to be a PT ever since I was really young, like 8th grade. At first, I just wanted a job that wasn't like repetitive. I didn't want a desk job. I wanted a job where I was constantly like thinking on my feet and working with people. And then when I did my first few sets of clinical observations, I just loved how much the PTs were able to pour into their patients and get them better so quickly and use exercise to do that. And so that really, really made me want to be a PT. And then I feel like in PT school, I just fell in love with it even more.
Yeah, pretty similar story for me, really. I feel like a lot of PT start that way. We just don't want to sit still.
Mm.
So definitely like the active part of it kind of caught my attention at first. I love to solve puzzles. You both know that about me, and
Oh yeah.
PT really just like the human body is a puzzle. So
Mhm.
getting to solve it, I think, is a big thing for me. Um, but yeah, just like the coolest job, helping people meet their goals and do all
And
the
doing
things.
something different every day with every person. It's
Yeah.
never
Sure.
the same, never the
No,
same day twice.
you can't schedule out. I mean, you have a plan and it goes exactly the opposite way. I feel like with PT.
Yeah.
A lot of days, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So I was at Craig, got some good PT up there. Obvious, like with that hospital, that's all they see. So I'm not gonna lie. I said this in my testimony deal that I wrote about PT Central, but I was pretty scared. Like nervous coming home because like I was getting top notch PT, and then uh, coming home it was like am I gonna get good PT? And so what what do you remember what like your thoughts were whenever you heard you were getting? Because had y'all ever dealt with anybody like me before?
It was definitely a first for me in terms of just being in Davis. Like, I'd seen some during school
Right.
on like daily rotations and things, but never anything that I was working with long term. So on my end, like there's definitely a lot of research involved of like, what could I expect? What were the things I needed to look out for? And just trying to like make a plan before you even got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember like hearing your name constantly for like, a month while you were in Craig. Like, I was like, Dawson, Dawson, Dawson. I had never met you, and I'd actually never met any one of your family either.
Yeah.
So you were like an unspoken celebrity. And then I'd worked with a paraplegic when I was a student, but it was like a 2 week deal. So, like Amanda said, a lot of research, and I had just finished PT school, so I felt like I was pretty fresh on what it looked like on a book, but totally different when you have someone sitting in front of you.
Right. Yeah. Especially like this is not like normal PT, right? Do you learn? At PT school, do you learn a lot about this, like spinal cord injuries and stuff like that, or was it kind of
A
just
ton.
learn as
Yeah,
you
a
Yeah.
go?
ton, a ton.
You do.
Yeah,
So you were already pretty knowledgeable in it.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean, for me at
paper
that point,
patient, I said a paper patient's not a real patient.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. And I was so far removed from school at that time, and it's not something I dealt with regularly. So a lot of stuff just kind of flies out of your brain when you don't use it. So
Yeah.
I definitely had to do a little bit more refreshing than what Lauren did, I would say.
Yeah.
When I feel like I was in the opposite situation, like I knew what was going on because I was literally 7 months out of school when I first met you.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was also the baby PT of the group. So
Yeah.
Amanda and Janie had way more just like knowledge than I did. So I was like, I'm never going to treat him. I'm never going to get to treat him.
And then look at us.
And now we're three best friends.
That's right. So do you remember what kind of goals, expectations that you had whenever we first started seeing each other?
I mean, I can tell you some of the goals that were set for you, like actually in your documentation, were like to be able to manage a tilt program and
Yeah.
You need to remember Janie wrote these. She saw you
yeah,
the first
Janie
day,
wrote
so.
this. She can't defend herself on these. But like about cervical motion, like just being able to like turn your head and do things kind of like that. So it was pretty, I mean, compared to the things that we're doing now,
Right.
just like a vast difference.
Yeah. Huh. I never knew. So it was just like getting good at tilting and
Yeah,
that
I
you
mean, she
like-
wrote a handful of goals. I do remember that one specifically. I don't know why it stuck in my head, but
Yeah, that you do it your tilt program
yeah.
every like hour as you were supposed to. I think maybe she was worried about you being a punk.
Yeah. Well, I actually when I go to Craig every year I get in trouble for not doing my tilt cuz I don't do it. It's going to bite me in the
well,
butt.
I guess shout out to Janie for making that a goal.
Yeah. Yeah, great goal,
guess-
Jenny, but still haven't achieved that one.
I guess Amanda's gonna have to rewrite that one for next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Gonna have
Back.
We might have to put that one back on there. Okay, so PT obviously with like a normal person is a lot different than a quadriplegic. So like, what's kind of explain like what the differences are? Because I feel some people when they think of PT they think of like stretching and you hurt your arm, you go to PT for a little bit, but like, what's the difference in? I don't know if that makes sense, but like the difference in a normal person's PT and like PT with me.
Well, you said hurt your arm, and that made me think of all the times that like your arm would fall off the table and we wouldn't notice it right away,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You don't have the sensation that everyone else does.
Yeah,
So if your, leg gets stuck at a funky angle, your arm gets stuck at a funky angle, we really have to be way more aware of what your body's doing because you're not going to tell us unless it's, chest up.
yeah,
Or the times that you had like your autonomic system regulation, right? Like
yeah,
I remember right before Christmas, the first year I treated you, we had like an AD episode right in the middle of our session, and that was totally different because neither one of us really knew what was going on, but we both knew we had to shut it down.
yeah. And for the listeners that don't know, she said AD. So autonomic dysreflexia is something that spinal cord patients injuries, people with spinal cord injuries have, and it's like it's your body letting you know that something's wrong that's below your injury level because I can't feel, and so my body will like my blood pressure will spike, I get a headache and stuff like that. So which I had a bunch of bouts with them with that pretty early on. I was having problems with my pump and all that, but that's what AD is. And so Amanda, you got anything?
No, I mean, she's spot on with that. We just have to be a little bit more aware of what is happening to you and you telling us what you are feeling. And that way we can decide, like, is it good to continue or do we need to put a pause on something? Speaking of AD, like, I will never forget that first time we tried to get you laying on your stomach to
Yeah.
stretch you.
Yeah.
And then you blaming me for your hospital trip later that day.
Well,
Blaming us. We were in it together.
well, it was pretty much y'all's fault.
You stop that, liar.
So I went to therapy that morning. They flipped me over on my stomach for the first time. And then I come home and wheeled off the sidewalk, flipped my chair, and it put me in the hospital. And I went back and told them that it was their fault, that they had sent me to the hospital because they put me on my stomach. Till my mom had to rat me out. She's the one that told y'all actually he flipped his chair off the sidewalk.
We had planned so long to do that and like both done so much research on like, is it okay to get him on his stomach? You know? And then when your mom called and said he's at the ER, we both were like, did we do that? You know? So
Yeah, mini freak out moment for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Well, I got to keep you on your toes.
Always.
Always.
Okay, so walk the people through. Y'all have come up with like some crazy stuff that we do. I'm actually gonna try to get like a video put together of some clips of like stuff that I do at therapy and
Our friendship
post it on.
highlight reel.
Yeah, I'm post it on my channel. But like for the listeners and stuff, like y'all have come up with some really cool exercise. So we're not just doing the same thing over and over again. But kind of talk them through like how you've come up with some of this stuff and just like what a day of therapy is like with me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at the beginning, a lot of it was just like stretching, right? Making sure you didn't lose mobility. And as you've progressed and as you've gotten more of your muscles back, like that definitely allows us to kind of open the book and throw more things at you based on what muscles are working and just trying to get creative and not have you do the same things every day. Because I know that it gets pretty boring if you're always like, all right, let's do bicep curls today. Yeah. So, you know, eating Starburst is totally different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And way better. Tastes so much better.
Yeah, I feel like you always told me directly or indirectly what you wanted to work on, right? Like we would talk about eating, or like this last January, I did your re-eval and we were talking about like using a mouse. So you and I worked on some like weighted ball things, like how can we get you to a point where you can use a mouse? Or a few weeks ago, Amanda and I were on FaceTime and we were talking about like how can we get you to hit a baseball bat, right? Like
yeah.
That's something we both really, really want for you is to get back to doing the things you love: food, Starburst, right. Baseball.
just the essentials to life.
Just the essentials to life. But then also like standing and walking, right? That's the biggest goal you've always told me is like, I'm going to walk.
Yeah.
So if we're going to get you to walk, we have to stand. We have to work on your core strength. We have to do all these little things that sometimes seem inconsequential, but someday you're going to walk and that's going to be so awesome.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, with that standing specifically, like I've seen huge improvements from the beginning. Mm-hmm. You know, the first time we would try to stand, you could do like, I don't know, 2 minutes and you had to have a caffeine pouch.
Yeah.
And now you're standing for 30 minutes without one and you're doing exercise while you're standing. And it's just like a whole different like situation now where your body has really adjusted to that.
Yeah. So we're kind of talking about some stuff that we do. What's one of the coolest / most fun like sessions that we've had? Can you think of one?
I feel like this is a better question for you because I have fun every time we get to hang out.
That's very true.
What has been your most memorable session?
Well, probably I've two come to mind. And the first one was whenever you dropped me. That was pretty fun.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Then,
you let him talk. You should have talked for him.
Yeah, and then the other one was when me and Lauren put a hole in the wall that's still there.
Still there. Yeah. Never getting rid of it.
We're gonna frame it.
Yeah.
And just it's never gonna get fixed. We're not gonna allow it.
I really thought I was going to lose my job over that hole in the wall too.
But no, man, we've done a lot of cool stuff, a lot of fun stuff. I'm trying to think. The baseball, the bat one, that was pretty fun. I mean, that was pretty cool. Then working on my curveball, we were working on that one day. Uh, Again, I'm gonna try to get. I'm gonna talk with Jason about like all these little video clips that Mimi takes. You know, putting them together and putting them on my YouTube because uh, you can watch them on my Facebook if you're a listener and you're not on my Facebook. That's where we post all of our stuff, but all my PT clips and stuff. But we're gonna try to incorporate some of that into my YouTube. But man, I don't know. It's hard to narrow it down to one. That's why I was gonna ask y'all if y'all knew any. If
My
any would
favorite
come to
days
mind.
are really the ones where you're like, hey, go get Mimi or go get my mom. I want this on video.
Yeah,
Like, those are my favorite
yeah,
moments.
There's one that sticks out to me where you and I we were on the mat on the floor and we were doing sit-ups and you had got Mimi and she was behind me and you were like you had your eyes closed and as you sat up you like did the zombie eyes because it scared me and I thought I was in control.
yeah, yeah.
But you
That,
scared me.
that was a good day. Oh, and uh, it was really cool when y'all would flip me on my stomach with the skateboard and
Yeah, do those pull
do
ups.
those
Yeah.
pull ups with that skateboard. Like, there's just been some real creative. How do y'all come up with those? You just
I mean, yeah, a lot of it is brainstorming. Like Lauren told you, we talk about you sometimes on our FaceTime calls, just trying to like come up with new ideas and things. I get a lot of ideas just in general off Instagram, off TikTok, like stealing other people's creativeness
mm-hmm.
and then being able to modify it for you.
Yeah, like how can we get okay, this is what we want to do. How do we get Dawson to do that?
Yeah,
You know?
that's
That's
pretty.
how the Starbursts were born. I
Yeah,
mean, that's how almost all of our great ideas started was like, do you think we could throw the BFR cuffs on Dawson? Why not? Do you
yeah.
think we could actually eat a Starburst? Why not?
So the BFR cuffs, those are pretty cool. Those are like. So what do they do again? Y'all are going to be better explaining than me.
It's called blood flow restriction. So it's basically like a blood pressure cuff that airs up. It cuts off some of the supply of oxygen to your muscles, so then they have to work harder. So you can get a more like robust workout without having to just lift a ton of weight.
Which helps. It's really good for me because lifting, I'm not real good at lifting a bunch of weight, but
Yes, yes,
It also kind of it tires you out pretty dang quick. It's tough.
yeah, yeah. Your
Um,
muscles definitely have to work a lot harder when you've got that thing on.
yeah, yeah, no doubt. Um, we uh, we mentioned earlier the stander. Just trying to think of like some stuff that we do while we're at therapy. Uh, so what is standing? Explain like what standing does good for my body.
I think one of the most important things with the stander for your body is that it gives weight bearing back through your legs, right? Like when you were up walking and running, your bones were constantly getting force from the ground and that was keeping them strong. But the last few years, you haven't been able to stand very much and you're not able to stand on your own. So when you're in that stander, it supports you from the front and the back, right? Like we start with it sitting, we pump it up till you're standing straight up, and that gives weight back through your legs. And the hope is that someday that will help your legs remember how to stand and walk on their own.
Yeah, that's that also. I mean, like in the stander varies. It's gotten better, but it's still like sometimes it's like 10 minutes. Sometimes I can stand for a while. Um, it's just crazy. Like I don't really understand why it's like that. Is there any explanation for that, or is it just that's just how it is?
I mean, a lot of things like that vary from person to person. anyway, just like between sessions, right? Like somebody might be able to do 20 deadlifts one day, but not the other if they did something, you know, a little bit more challenging at home and were sore, right? So everybody kind of has days where they're a little bit better and maybe not so good. So I do think some of it depends on how tired you are, how bad your spasms are. I do think that those things are going to play into your tolerance of standing, like quite a
I
bit.
feel like back in the day, like heat and cold would really affect it too. So like if it was a really cold winter day, that would make it worse. Or if you were really hot from being out on the field all day, like we'd have to scale some of our things back then too. Not that you are physically incapable of doing them, but your nervous system's already just fatigued, like she's saying, before we even would start something.
Yeah. It still kind of affects it some, but not like, I guess it's just my body getting used to it or something, because at first it was brutal. Which the pump was malfunctioning. That was shout out to y'all for like just powering through that. Y'all still saw me through. I mean, those spasms were terrible. Words I don't think words can explain. It was like seizures all the time. And y'all
I
were
actually
just,
don't think I really like recognized how bad they were until they weren't anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's all that we had known because it was malfunctioning from the beginning. So then once they had calmed down some when you got your pump fixed, then I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like.
yeah. And it was
And
like,
that
oh, go ahead.
that let us do so much more because I felt like the first several months, like we were just like in a wrestling match constantly, right? And then once the pump got fixed, it was like, oh, like Dawson actually can sit on the edge of the bed and he's okay.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say too, is that we noticed like there was like muscles firing that that we didn't notice before, because anytime you touch me, my whole body just went into a spasm and freaked out. So getting that pump fixed was a major plus for not just like everyday life, but also like going to therapy and all that good stuff. Okay. So what brought y'all to PT Central? Because I know I've heard a little bit of like backstories. Y'all aren't from around here. So what brought you to PT Central?
Well, I actually was a tech for PT Central when I was in undergrad getting my bachelor's, and then also while I was in PT school. So I knew the company pretty well. I liked how they did things. I really enjoyed just the atmosphere. And then really is Janie specifically that took me to Davis.
Yeah.
So after talking to her, I was like, hey, she's an awesome therapist. I want to learn from her. So I wound up in Davis just due to like the mentorship aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I don't have a story without Amanda. My PT school was connected to PT Central through our parent company. So when my first rotation fell through, I got sent to Oklahoma. That's kind of my choice, was go to Oklahoma or don't graduate for 6 more months. I did my 6 months and more, and then I really loved the company. I loved the culture and the vibe. And so Janie and Amanda met with me one night, and they told me about this magical place called Davis and coerced me to come down to Murray County. And really, like she said, it was the mentorship. It was, Janie and Amanda had their OCS, their orthopedic certified specialist certifications at that time. And I just knew I was going to learn so much, but I was going to be down, deep in the pits of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have traded it for the world. I really wouldn't have.
So tell them what you do now, where you're at now?
So now I'm in Kansas City, and I am a clinic director of a clinic that is sister companies with PT Central. So I didn't leave the big parent company, but moved to a bigger city and trying to run the ship.
You see a bunch of athletes like you do at PT Central?
The patient demographics are pretty similar. Like, I have a lot of older friends who are like in their 70s and 80s, and then I have a good smattering of 10 to 20-year-olds who are more on the athlete category.
Yeah.
So I have a pretty good mix right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything that y'all wanted to talk about that we didn't cover? 'Cause I've got one last question that we'll wrap it up with, but if there's anything else? No?
Thanks for being our guinea pig.
No.
Yeah, for sure. You good, Amanda? You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't have anything else, I don't think.
Okay. All right. So here's the last question I have, and a lot of people were wanting to know this one. So I said I would wrap it up with this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how blessed are you that you got to work with me and you got to meet me?
What a question. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You know I love you. You make it fun.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. It's never a bad day when Dawson's on your schedule. It's never a bad day when you get to just hang out with someone who pushes themselves so hard, but also has so much fun while they're doing it, and is also one of your, good close friends.
Yeah.
All the times that I got to teach you and McKella something while I was working on you, or a time that Amanda and I would whisper, what are we going to do with Dawson today? And then make something crazy happen. 10 out of 10 blessed.
Yeah. Well, that's something I didn't mention is that I pretty much have been to PT school because y'all have had a few students that y'all were teaching as y'all were working with me. So I pretty much could probably go pass a PT test.
I think you maybe could. You've taught some of our students things even.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool to see kind of that aspect of it too. If they're not familiar with it and you're like, hey, this is what's going on. I think it's really neat to be able to, one, like Lauren said, you push yourself like crazy, which is always very appreciated, but also to see kind of the teacher in you a little bit. I think it's cool.
I guess it's kind of in my blood. I'm from almost all of my family is somehow or another a teacher in the school system. So I guess I just come by it naturally. It's in my blood.
Well, and you lead by example well, because if you're in the clinic, everybody else in the clinic is pushing themselves harder too, because they're watching you push yourself hard. So,
well, if I can motivate anybody, one person, I guess that's good. So, again, just thank y'all for what y'all have done. Y'all have been a huge blessing. God really blessed me with some of the great therapists around. So, thank y'all, and thank y'all for joining me today. Thank y'all for listening. We'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you have questions, ask them in the comments and I will answer them on the next episode. If you are wanting to reach me for a speaking engagement, you can reach out through either the God's Got This Facebook page or my email that is in the podcast description. Thanks again, and remember that no matter what you are going through in life, you can always find peace in the fact that God's got this.